You know that one movie where the unlikable workaholic father is neglecting his family in search of success in his architecture job, and he ends up buying a gift from Christopher Walken to fix a problem, but it's not all that it seems, and actually Christopher Walken is a form of a god that punishes him for neglecting his family in search of success, and only after he learns how to treat his family right does he get to go back to his normal life? Oh, you mean Click, right? No, I mean 2016's Mr FuzzyPants.
Mr FuzzyPants?
If you don't know anything about this movie, great. Start fresh with me. Mr FuzzyPants, or 9 Lives, this movie has 2 names, is a mix of Click, Garfield, and Mrs. Doubtfire. Oh, my wife wants space? We will address all 3 of those movie comparisons, but to start, let's give a rundown on the movie itself.
What if your dad was a cat?
Seriously?
Now, family
Alley-oop!
is forever.
Nailed it.
9 Lives.
Tom Brand, played by Kevin Spacey, is a materialistic, workaholic father who hates cats. He is actively ignoring his family and focusing on things like trying to build the biggest tower in the world. Tom has a daughter named Rebecca. She's played by a child. She's having her 11th birthday and she desperately wants a cat. Something that Tom hates. In a frantic last-minute attempt to look like not a terrible father, Tom agrees to get her a cat. Christopher Walken plays a character called Felix Perkins, who runs Perkins Pet Shop. He starts off as a regular salesman, but very quickly you can tell he's more than just a guy that works at a pet shop. He's also a guy that works at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Michael, just hit menu.
On the remote?
No,
the menu with the red lobster. Yes, on the remote.
In this movie, he plays a cat whisperer, which means he can communicate with cats, something that will become important later on. Tom is rude to him, as he is with everyone, and picks the first cat in front of him because he just wants to get out of there. Just as he's walking out, he gets a call from an employee telling him he needs to see him on the top of the roof of their tower that they're building. I'm not sure why it had to be there, but it did, I guess. Tom takes the cat up there. Tom meets his employee, Ian Cox, played by Hiram Lodge from Riverdale.
Consequences for breaking my daughter's heart, huh?
Ian Cox has been planning to steal the company from underneath, and Tom's had enough and says he will fire him. Right as that happens, a lightning strike zaps the building and Tom goes plummeting off the side. Now, Ian could save him, but if he did, he'd still lose his job, so he lets him fall. Luckily, while falling down, Tom swings back into the building and lands into a coma, but his entire consciousness is transferred into the cat that he just bought, Mr. FuzzyPants. So the plot of this movie is he's stuck in a cat's body and is forced to watch his life unravel. The next 20 minutes consists of finding different ways to communicate that he is in fact a human stuck in a cat's body, but in typical Hollywood fashion, when things don't work, he doesn't try them again. There are 2 really good examples of this. He spells out "I am Tom" in a bit of string, but they just kind of move on from it. And this other one where he writes on the fridge, "I am not me, am man." This is the one that like sticks in my head the most, because if my cat was moving letters in front of me and writing English, I don't think I could ignore it. He could write anything on that fridge. He could just write "run" or like "I'm in the walls," you know? Something to just terrify his family. Eventually, he gets to speak to Christopher Walken. Basically, Christopher Walken explains that in order for you to get out of your coma and go back to, living as a human, you need to learn how to be a cat. You need to be there for your family. You need to make your family happy. You need to listen to how sad they are when you're not here. The stakes are basically, if you don't eat cat food and play with your kid, you're going to be stuck as a cat forever. This movie is very straightforward. There's never a part where he grows to love being a cat. Anyway, back to the plot. So Tom owns 51% of his company, Firebrand, and he wants to keep it private. Now, Ian Cox is trying to make the company go public. Tom is in a coma, so he can't overrule Ian, meaning Ian can make the company decisions how he wants to. Ian is going to make the company go public if Tom doesn't wake up. And somehow this is the focus of the movie. The work plot is really what this entire movie is about, which is kind of crazy considering a human being has morphed into a cat. In a movie where a man got struck by lightning and turns into a cat, they'd much rather focus on whether or not a business will go public. There are some interesting storylines, which of course we'll get to, but basically, Tom has a son who works for him. His name's David. He's played by Scott Tweedy. David's the only one which is really pushing back on Ian's plans. The rest of the board is just kind of, I'm just a happy guy. But David is unsuccessful, and this is where the movie takes a very dark turn.
I screwed up, Dad. What are you talking about? I spent my whole life waiting for a sign that I was making you proud. When I finally got it, I let you down. I lost everything. I can't live with that. I don't know if you're still in there, but you won't want to miss this. Oh! Oh! So I'm gonna take my first jump. And my last jump. Right off of that tower.
No, David!
Goodbye, Dad. I love you.
After what is a really surprisingly good final act, where even I as a grown man could not look away from my screen, it does actually mean that David jumps off his father's building. Yeah, David had a parachute. The whole time. All that talk back at the hospital, the crazy, like, exposition dump that he was going to end it all, he had a parachute on. David is fine.
Mr FuzzyPants?
This whole time, after that genuinely dark, crazy speech that he gave to his dad, he had a
Parachute. Parachute.
He lands on his feet. Mr FuzzyPants does not, but we'll come back to that. He lands on his feet, parachute lands in Ian Hickok's face, and David's a hero. They're not going public. At the same time, because Tom sacrificed himself to save his son, he did what he had to do. He became the man he needed to be a man that was not a cat.
Meow, that hurt.
In the end, Tom woke up, David saved the company, Rebecca got her dad back, Lara got her husband back, and Ian got hit by a car. And then he became a cat. That's the end of the movie. That's the end of the movie. It's a very interesting movie, to be honest. It's not an emotional movie at all. It teeters on fun bad. I know some people had an emotional time while watching this. I definitely wasn't one of them. The movie is so goofy in some parts and then so weirdly dark in others. I think the dark themes just came almost out of nowhere. In terms of movie comparisons, I think it's easy to compare this movie to Garfield to start, just because of the poor cat CGI scenes. But when the cat plays with the balloon, and the scenes where the cat falls and like lands on his face, again, it just looks a little bad. It's a bit fun bad, but it does look bad. There is also slight Mrs. Doubtfire energy in this one. Both Nine Lives and Mrs. Doubtfire use like a hidden identity plot which leads him to redeem himself. They're forced to see the damage which they caused. Tom as the cat can see how lonely he's made his wife and child feel, and Daniel, which is Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire, as the nanny sees how his ex-wife struggles without him around. Of course there are differences, like Tom is forced to be a cat and Mrs. Doubtfire is unhinged. Anyway, the comparisons to Click are painfully obvious. To be short with it, both stories have a main character who is known for being a lousy father. They are loved by their kids, tolerated by their wives, and belittled by their wives' friends. They spend too much time working on architecture that their kids are growing up without a dad. They both buy something from Christopher Walken in search of a way to be happier. They are then bound to that gift and suddenly their lives are controlled by it. If they want to go back to how they were, they have to change their ways. They both resent Christopher Walken at first, but grow to accept his rules and give in. They see the damage they cause their family. They end up sacrificing themselves for their son in emotionally charged climaxes, and when given a second chance in life, they take it. I don't know. Both movies just have this overarching theme of spend time with your kids. Mr. FuzzyPants is at best an interesting middle ground of three iconic films, and at worst it's a thematic mess that chooses to focus on a business rather than the fact its main character was morphed into a cat.